Gentlemen, everything in this universe operates on energy. The way you walk into a room, the way you hold yourself, the way you feel about yourself, all of it sends a signal. And that signal dictates how others respond to you. You see, attraction isn't just about words or actions, it's about frequency. It's about who you are being before you even open your mouth. So the question isn't, how do I make someone want me? The question is, how do I become so magnetic that the right people can't help but gravitate toward me? To understand this, we have to look at the science of perception. The brain is wired to assign value based on scarcity and significance. That which is abundant is often overlooked, while that which is rare is deeply desired. The moment you begin to see yourself as the prize, everything shifts. You stop chasing, you stop over-explaining, you stop seeking approval. Instead, you step into a state of certainty, and certainty is power. When you embody this energy, you become the one who is chosen, not because you are trying to be, but because you already know your worth. The subconscious mind picks up on this at an instinctual level. People can feel when you are whole within yourself, when you are not seeking completion, but instead radiating completeness. This is where true attraction is born. Now let's take it deeper. Your electromagnetic field, the energy you emit, is constantly interacting with the world around you. The moment you begin to shift your inner world, your beliefs, your emotions, your self-concept, you shift your external reality. You stop needing validation because you have already validated yourself. You stop fearing loss because you know that nothing truly valuable ever needs to be forced. The paradox of attraction is that the more you need, the less you receive. But the moment you let go, the moment you embrace your own power, the dynamic reverses. You become the source. You become the one who decides. And that right there is the key to high-value attraction. Magnetism is not something you do. It is something you are. It is the energy you carry before you speak, before you move, before you even enter a room. True magnetism cannot be faked, because it is not about external tactics. It is an internal frequency that others feel on a subconscious level. When someone is truly magnetic, people are drawn to them effortlessly, not because of what they say, but because of the energy they radiate. Science shows that the human body generates an electromagnetic field, with the heart producing the most powerful one. Emotions like gratitude, confidence, and self-assurance create a coherent, strong field, while emotions like desperation, fear, and self-doubt create chaotic energy. People naturally gravitate toward coherence. This is why someone who is completely at ease within themselves doesn't have to chase. Their energy alone does the work for them. Magnetism is built on a deep sense of certainty. It is the knowing that you are enough, exactly as you are. The moment you stop seeking validation, the moment you release the need for external approval, you shift from pulling energy in to simply being the source of it. This shift changes everything. Others can sense when you are grounded in yourself, when your energy is solid, when you don't need anything outside of you to feel complete. The subconscious mind is always scanning for signals of value, for people who operate from a place of wholeness rather than lack. When you cultivate internal certainty, you naturally command attention without demanding it. You create space for others to want to be in your presence, not because you are trying, but because your energy is already speaking for you. Frequency is the foundation of attraction. Every thought, every emotion, every belief emits a signal, and that signal determines what you draw into your life. The energy you carry is like a broadcast to the world, and the world responds accordingly. If you are operating from self-doubt, fear, or scarcity, that energy is felt. If you are operating from confidence, abundance, and certainty, that energy is also felt. The key is understanding that you are always transmitting a frequency, whether you are aware of it or not. Neuroscience shows that the brain is constantly picking up on nonverbal cues. Before you even speak, people are registering your energy. The subconscious mind is designed to assess whether someone is a source of certainty and strength or a source of insecurity and instability. This is why two people can say the exact same words, but one captivates a room while the other is ignored. The difference is not in the words, but in the energy behind them. When you shift your internal state, your external world rearranges itself. Raising your frequency is not about pretending or forcing confidence. It is about embodying the emotions and beliefs that align with your highest self. This is why gratitude, self-worth, and inner peace are so powerful. They elevate your frequency and create a natural, effortless magnetism. People want to be around those who make them feel something powerful. And that feeling is dictated by the energy you bring. The moment you align with a high frequency state, you stop chasing, you stop overanalyzing, you stop worrying about external outcomes. You become someone who naturally attracts, because your presence alone signals that you are already fulfilled, already enough, already in possession of everything you once sought outside of yourself. Uncertainty is one of the most attractive qualities a person can possess. It is an unshakable knowing, a deep-rooted confidence that does not waver based on external circumstances. When you embody certainty, you don't seek permission, validation, or reassurance. You simply are. And because you are certain of yourself, others become certain of you. The subconscious mind is wired to trust stability. And when you radiate an unwavering presence, people are naturally drawn to it. Neuroscience reveals that the brain is constantly looking for safety and leadership in its environment. When someone exudes certainty, it signals strength, competence, and reliability. It tells others that this is someone who knows who they are, someone who does not second-guess their own worth. This is why people follow leaders who display conviction, why confidence is often more compelling than words, and why someone who is fully rooted in themselves becomes magnetic without effort. Certainty is not arrogance. It is alignment. It is the absence of doubt, the ability to trust oneself so deeply that external approval becomes irrelevant. The moment you stop questioning your own value, you stop leaking energy. Instead of chasing, convincing, or proving, you simply exist in a state of self-assurance. This shift in energy is immediately recognizable. Others can sense when you are at peace with yourself, when you are not waiting for someone else's validation to feel whole. When you cultivate certainty, you send a powerful message to the world. I know who I am. I know what I bring, and I do not need anything outside of myself to feel complete. This energy not only attracts people, it changes the way they perceive you. You become the person they seek, not because you're trying, but because certainty itself is the most undeniable form of presence. Scarcity creates value. This is a principle woven into the fabric of human psychology. The rarer something is, the more desirable it becomes. The more freely available something is, the more it is taken for granted. This is not manipulation. It is a fundamental law of perception. When something is in abundance, the brain registers it as common, but when something is limited, it captures attention, ignites interest, and fuels attraction. This is why exclusivity is so powerful. When you position yourself as someone who is not always available, someone who is selective with their energy, time, and attention, you naturally elevate your perceived value. People don't just want what is available to everyone, they want what is earned. The moment you stop over-giving, over-explaining, and over-investing in those who have not demonstrated equal value, the dynamic shifts. Instead of chasing, you become the one who decides where your energy flows. Neuroscience backs this up with the concept of dopamine-driven reward systems. When something is easy to obtain, the brain produces less dopamine in response. When something requires effort, anticipation, or uncertainty, dopamine spikes. This is why instant gratification is less satisfying than something that is pursued. It is not just about what is given, it is about the process of obtaining it. Scarcity is not about withholding love, affection, or kindness. It is about recognizing that your energy is valuable. It is about moving in a way that says, not everyone gets access to me. The moment you embody this, people begin to perceive you differently. They recognize that your time, your presence, your attention, these are not things to be taken lightly. They must be earned, and that in itself makes them infinitely more desirable. Energy is the unspoken language that dictates every interaction. Long before words are exchanged, before actions are taken, energy has already spoken. It is the invisible force that people respond to, whether they realize it or not. Your energy is not just what you project outward, it is what you embody at the deepest level. It is the sum of your thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and self-perception, constantly broadcasting a signal that others feel before they even understand why. Science confirms that everything in existence vibrates at a certain frequency, including human beings. When you operate from an energy of abundance, confidence, and inner peace, You create a coherent field that naturally draws others in. When you operate from fear, desperation, or insecurity, that energy creates resistance. People may not consciously register this, but they respond instinctively. This is why someone who is truly at ease within themselves attracts without effort, while someone seeking validation pushes others away. Your energy dictates the way others perceive you. If you walk into a room feeling uncertain, small, or doubtful, that energy is felt before you even speak. But when you move with certainty, when you hold yourself with a quiet, unshakable presence, people notice. The energy you bring into a space sets the tone for how others interact with you. The key is to shift from seeking external validation to becoming the source of your own energy. When you realize that attraction is not about trying harder, but about aligning internally, everything changes. You stop reacting and start influencing. You stop needing and start attracting. Your energy does the work for you, not because you are forcing anything, but because you have stepped into a state of being that others can't help but respond to. Self-worth is not something given, it is something claimed. It is the internal foundation upon which all attraction is built. When you truly know your worth, you stop looking outward for validation, and instead you become the source of your own value. This shift is profound because the moment you stop seeking approval, you naturally begin to command respect. People sense when you carry yourself with an intrinsic knowing that you are enough exactly as you are. The brain is wired to perceive confidence as a signal of value. Studies show that humans are instinctively drawn to those who exude certainty and self-assuredness. It's not about arrogance. It's about an unshakable inner security that does not need external reinforcement. When you walk through life with the belief that you are valuable, without needing to prove it, your entire presence shifts. You no longer overextend, overexplain, or overcompensate. You stop tolerating less than you deserve because you no longer question what you are worth. Self-worth also dictates the way others treat you. When you set the standard for how you expect to be treated, people either rise to meet that standard or they naturally fade away. You no longer chase because you know that what is meant for you will align with the energy you hold. The moment you elevate your self-worth, you begin attracting relationships, opportunities, and experiences that reflect that same level of value. Energetically, self-worth is coherence. It is the absence of internal conflict, the removal of self-doubt, and the embodiment of a belief that you are already enough. When you truly accept this, you move through life differently. You radiate confidence, you attract effortlessly, and you step into a frequency where high-value opportunities naturally align with you. Attraction is not about luck or chance. It is about alignment. It is the natural response to the energy you emit, the beliefs you hold, and the self-perception you carry. People do not just respond to appearances or words, they respond to vibration. They are drawn to those who embody a sense of completeness, a presence that feels strong, certain, and grounded. When you become someone who no longer seeks external validation, you step into a level of attraction that is effortless. Science shows that the human brain is constantly scanning for cues of confidence, security, and emotional stability. People are not consciously aware of it, but they are instinctively pulled toward those who radiate a sense of certainty. This is why those who are genuinely comfortable with themselves, who move with ease and assurance, naturally attract attention without trying. It is not about being the loudest or the most physically striking. It is about the energy you bring. Attraction is also deeply tied to the concept of self-sufficiency. When someone needs external approval to feel worthy, they send a signal of lack, and that lack creates resistance. But when someone already feels complete within themselves, their energy is abundant, and abundance is magnetic. The moment you stop seeking, you start drawing in. The moment you stop proving, you start being noticed. The key to attraction is not about playing games or following rules. It is about becoming a person who embodies the energy of someone who already has everything they need. When you shift into this space, people can sense it. They can feel the difference. You stop chasing connections and instead connections find you. You stop needing approval and instead people are drawn to the certainty and power you naturally exude. Power is not about control over others. It is about mastery over yourself. It is the ability to stand firm in your truth, to move with purpose, and to operate from a place of inner certainty rather than external validation. True power does not need to be announced, argued, or proven. It is felt. It radiates from those who have cultivated a deep sense of self-ownership, those who do not waver in the face of opinions, rejections, or temporary circumstances. The brain is wired to recognize power as stability. In a world full of uncertainty, people are naturally drawn to those who exude a strong and unwavering presence. This is why power is so attractive, not because it dominates, but because it centers. When you hold your own energy, when you are not easily swayed by external noise, you create a gravitational pull. Others feel safer, more intrigued, and more engaged in your presence, not because of anything you say, but because of who you are. Power is also the ability to detach. It is knowing that nothing outside of you defines you. The moment you realize that you are already complete, you release the need to chase, convince, or force anything into place. This detachment does not create distance, it creates magnetism. When you operate from a state of abundance, you send the message that your presence is not to be taken for granted. People respect what they sense is not desperate to be kept. True power lies in being unapologetically yourself, in moving with an unshakable sense of purpose, and in realizing that you are the source of everything you once sought externally. When you step into this state, you naturally shift the way people respond to you, not through effort, but through presence. Presence is more than just being physically in a room. It is the energy you bring into it. It is the way you hold yourself, the depth of your awareness, and the level of certainty you exude without having to say a word. People with presence do not need to demand attention. They command it effortlessly. They are not the loudest in the room, but they are the ones others feel the most. Science confirms that the brain is highly attuned to nonverbal communication, often picking up on energy before logic even enters the equation. Presence is not about speaking more, proving more, or doing more. It is about being more. It is about embodying a frequency so strong and grounded that people are drawn to you without understanding why. This is why true leaders, visionaries, and highly attractive individuals all share one thing in common. They radiate presence. The key to cultivating presence is focus. When you are fully in the moment, not distracted by thoughts of the past or worries about the future, you create an undeniable field of energy around you. People can sense when you are truly engaged, when you are listening deeply, when you are completely rooted in yourself. This level of awareness makes you stand out effortlessly because in a world full of distractions, rare is the person who is fully here. Presence is also about detachment from outcome. When you are no longer seeking to impress, seeking to convince, or seeking approval, you free yourself from the energetic weight of neediness. Instead, you become someone who allows things to unfold, who does not force but attracts, who does not chase but is naturally pursued. This shift alone transforms the way people experience you and the way opportunities flow into your life. Confidence is not about words or appearance. It is about energy. It is the silent force that communicates self-assurance before you even speak. True confidence is not arrogance, it is certainty. It is the deep knowing that you are enough, that you belong, and that you do not need anything outside of yourself to feel whole. When you carry this energy, people feel it. They sense the difference between someone who is seeking validation and someone who already possesses it within. Neuroscience shows that confidence activates a sense of trust in others. The brain is wired to respond to certainty because certainty signals strength, stability, and leadership. This is why confident people naturally attract attention, respect, and admiration. They do not ask for permission to be seen or heard. They simply take up space unapologetically. Their energy moves differently. Their presence lingers, and their actions carry weight. Confidence also creates a ripple effect. When you believe in yourself, others begin to believe in you too. It is not about forcing people to see your value. It is about embodying that value so deeply that they cannot ignore it. This is why people who know their worth never chase. They do not need to. Their energy pulls rather than pushes, and that magnetic quality makes them stand out effortlessly. True confidence is not based on external factors. It is not rooted in self-perception. It is the ability to move through the world with an unwavering sense of inner stability, regardless of circumstances. When you reach this state, you no longer seek validation, you radiate it. And that, more than anything, shifts the way people respond to you, the way opportunities present themselves, and the way you experience life itself.